again, my friends. Now, I know you've been inundated with news about the handing over of the Prime Ministership to Mr. Lawrence Wong over the last few days. Nothing wrong with that. The SDP has congratulated Mr. Wong on his becoming Prime Minister. But I'd also like to remind you that after all the hype and hoopla dies down, you're still left with the cold, hard reality of the rising cost of living, your jobs, your wages, and your future. And those of you who have watched my previous videos will know that I try to stay away from bombastic exaggerations and over-the-top rhetoric. Instead, I have focused on bringing you crucial information and making logical arguments to help you become better informed. This video is no different. I will reason with you to be level-headed and to make sense to you every step of the way. Now, as you may know, the SDP recently held our GE 2024 campaign kickoff, during which I outlined our party's core campaign message. I focused on the PAP's foreign talent policy. Why do we do this? The over-reliance on foreigners and foreign workers affects us in several ways. The first is that it negatively impacts upon productivity. It also puts upward pressure on our cost of living. Third, it widens wealth inequality. And finally, it has a deleterious effect on our national identity. Now, I will focus on productivity in this video. Productivity is crucial in raising our wages and improving our quality of life. Don't take it from me. Mr. Lee Hsien Loong himself said that productivity growth is the only way forward to ensure a better life. But then he also admitted that productivity is very tough to do. And why is it tough to do? Well, economists tell us that it is our mass importation of foreign workers that is causing our productivity to be underperforming. The Harvard Business School published a paper by two economists, one from Keio University in Japan and the other from Stanford University. And this was back in 2012. The researchers said the downward trend of Singapore's productivity growth since the mid-2000s is mainly due to the sharp increase in the number of low-skilled foreign workers. They added, and this is the important part, for the next 2 decades, in other words, until 2032, our projections in the business as usual scenario imply a further decrease of labor quality growth. Remember this warning because I'll come back to it a little later. For now, I want to point out that we have a very serious problem on our hands, and the government sees it. This is why in 2012, Mr. Tharman, who was then the DPM and Finance Minister, said in his budget speech that our increasing dependence on foreign workers is not sustainable. We must, therefore, take further measures to reduce the inflow of foreign workers. So, we've established 3 things. 1, without productivity growth, our wages and quality of life cannot improve. 2, our dependence on foreigners is adversely affecting our productivity growth. 3, therefore, we will have to significantly reduce their inflow. Now, with that in mind, let's consider what's been happening. Well, it is true that the rate of growth in the number of foreign workers has slowed down in recent years. The more important question is it sufficient? Now, as recent as 2019, Dr. Tham Yin Yi, an economist with the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, was still reporting that Singapore fueled its impressive economic growth primarily through attracting foreign capital and importing foreign workers, and not increasing productivity. This strategy has now run into diminishing returns. In 2020, economists Manu Bhaskaran and Nigel Chiang also observed that Singapore's productivity growth has underperformed below what is needed to keep improving our living standards. Remember the 2 researchers I mentioned earlier who projected that if nothing changes, the quality of our productivity growth would suffer even more? Well, here's the reality. I haven't seen anything of significance that the PAP has undertaken that would change and improve the situation. The new Prime Minister, Mr. Lawrence Wong, has not articulated anything meaningfully different from what his predecessor has said and done. It is more of the same, with everything seemingly on autopilot. In fact, the number of non-residents or foreigners jumped to nearly 1.8 million in 2023, the highest in 2 decades. Of course, all these doesn't mean that there is a shift in the government's policy to reduce the inflow of foreigners in Singapore. Officials say that the unprecedented increase in the number of foreigners in 2023 is due to the need to complete the backlog of projects that were delayed during the COVID pandemic. Fair enough. But it does mean that Lawrence Wong should come out clearly and tell Singaporeans in no uncertain terms that going forward, his administration will not only reduce the inflow of foreign workers, but also tell us the number it would reduce it by and by when. The sooner we do this, the sooner we can take steps to increase the productivity and thereby improve the lives of Singaporeans. Of course, reducing the number of foreign workers alone is not enough. There are other steps that we can and must take in order to boost our labour productivity, and the SDP will spell them out and present them to you in the coming weeks and months. Now, I've also written about them in my new book, It Starts With a Dream.
Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to Ben Social Club. Hello, I'm City Boy, and I hope all of you will give me your support by subscribing to Ben Social Club. Why? Because Ben Social Club is a platform for ordinary folks like us, all of us, so that our voices can be heard. Yeah, we may not be well spoken, but we speak from our hearts. So let us all support YouTube channel Ben Social Club. Thank you.